A retired rodeo legend risks it all to save his grandson. Facing his own painful past and the fears of his family, he enters a high-stakes bull riding competition as the oldest contestant ever. Along the way, he reconciles old wounds with his strange daughter and proves that true courage is found in the fight for family. There you go. Mili, what do you think about this movie? Tell me a story of cowboys. Okay.
It's not my background, or never.
Did you ever ride on a horse?
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah?
A few times, but it's not my thing.
Okay.
You know, but the story was amazing, like so inspired. You need to have faith to try these kind of things. Beto was crazy. You know, it's like remember the movie we watched about George Floyd?
George Foreman.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
George Foreman, he was old too, you know, and he wins some champions. And I love that. They're old people trying to do their best and have another chance to compete. And of course, everybody laugh about it. Nobody believes on them. You tell me about the movie, Beto.
I tell you?
Yes, you tell me what you like the most.
Okay, Neil McDonough, I think he's a great actor. I love him, and I saw that he was part of in the producing team of this movie. So I really like that because I feel like now he's probably, like, we've seen him on another Angel Studios movies before. So I feel like he's already like connected with Angel Studios, and he's like, hey, this is a good place for me to be doing movies. And this one, even though, like you said, it's something, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 times I remember riding in a horse, you know? So the whole thing about cowboys, I'm not super familiar with. Like, I don't have a lot of relationship with that, other than I do remember my dad, like, wearing the cowboy hats when I was little, because my dad, I feel like, is more from that generation of riding horses and doing that sort of stuff, and, you know, doing the rodeo contesting and all of that in Mexico, of course, where we come from. But I appreciated that the movie talks about just like human relationships, you know? So whether you like the stuff about horses and cowboys and that sort of stuff, I mean, that's kind of like the context where all is happening. But the movie is really about the relationship of a grandpa with his grandson. And in the middle, of course, there's the daughter, right? The mom of the little kid. So to me, that's fascinating because I feel like anytime you talk about relationships, the closest ones we have is kids, parents, and grandparents. You know, outside of that, it's harder for, let's say, if you're a parent, you know, for your kids to connect with a great grandparent is way harder, you know, because they might be either dead or really old, right? So I think there's a easier connection with your grandparents as a kid and your parents, you know, so the relationship you have with your parents, whether it's a good one or not, I feel like that's what this movie talks about. You know, the dad with like his daughter is like, I don't want my kid to follow in your footsteps, you know, and become a bull rider. I want him to do something else that's safer. And curiously enough, that safer thing for them was baseball. And the kids ends up having like a concussion, right? Playing baseball. So it kind of tells you also that risks are happening everywhere. You know, they'll just, it can happen in something that you never thought would happen. Life is risky, you know, so if you want to live life, you got to take risks. So that's kind of like normal. And so anyways, that's that, the relationship with the daughter, and then the relationship with his friend Mili. I think it was really cool too, because I feel like all of us can relate with having a friendship and having those moments when, okay, are you my friend in this moment or not? You know, and are you gonna like come by and help me out when I need you? or not? And then, so there's this relationship between the two friends where, well, when I needed you, you kind of weren't there for me, so that hurt too.
So now you need me?
So now you need me, right? So I feel like the movie plays on all those relationships. And the context is like this whole like bullfighting and, the rodeo and that sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool, because I feel like it's a world I was not exposed to. So I appreciate it, like watching it. It's well done. I feel like lately Angel Studios movies are really good.
I remember it's in a scene when, the father comes with the daughter and he's asking her, what's up? You're not dating that guy? Like asking like intimate ask questions. And life can be messy.
Yes.
She's a single mother and she lost her mom, so the wife is dead. So he is pretty upset and mad at God, right? Because he took
that's
his
the other
wife.
thing that it kind of
like super messy, right?
Yes.
We all can relate with that. Our lives can be super messy, and sometimes we can get mad at God so easily because sometimes life is not fair and it's not justice. So, pretty real.
That's a great point, Mili, because I feel like the redemption side of the movie, like let's say the faith-based part of the movie, is not in your face, but it's there, right? So they don't, you see his friend coming and like opening the word, like the Bible, and reading a few verses, and then the friend who's like maybe not so connected to God, like, what are you doing, But it's not in your face. So I really love that, Mili, because it's just kind of like how life really is. There's someone that just kind of like shares Jesus without like being in your face, like, hey, you got to believe in this and that. He kind of confronts him, but he does it with love, right? And ultimately, I feel like the guy responds to that love. And also, I feel like the other theme in the movie, it's just like manliness, which is something like I feel like we're missing nowadays, and especially in movies, Hollywood movies. There's a guy that me and my kids love to watch. His name is on YouTube, his name is The Critical Drinker. And he does reviews of movies, any movie, right? Like all kinds of movies. And one of the things he says is that all the time these movies from Hollywood, they're trying to portray what he calls the message, So like this whole thing about like empowering women and inclusion and kind of like the wokeness and stuff like that. And what's interesting, I feel like people need to see just a man being a man, and like loving on his family and saying, I'm going to do whatever I can to save my grandson. Almost to the point of like...
What a beautiful father.
Yeah. Grandpa, right? Father to his daughter, but also grandpa. And almost like willing to die, right? Because he had a prior surgery on, like he broke his neck on one of the bull ridings many years before. And to be willing to say, I'm willing to do it all again, even though I'm older, even though I probably lost the skill. And there's a guy that's way younger than me that's the champion and can do it like way better than I can. And he still goes because he knows he can save his grandson, so he's willing to risk it and give it a try and say, well, this is what I know to do best and how I can save my family. So that's really cool, Mili. I feel like we need more stories of redemption and sacrifice. Humbleness. Yeah, where did you see humbleness happening?
Because he was like, I don't need to tell people what's going on with my life and why I'm fighting this hard for what I want. So I don't, ¿cómo dice? No quiero crearles lástima. I don't
want the pity, right? I don't want the pity of...
Don't tell anyone. So he's working so hard. I can do this. But at the end, like, you know what? Yes, I need their help. I'm going to ask for it. And he was humble.
Yes.
At the end.
At the end. So really good movie, Mili. What do you think you'd give it in as far as our emojis? Okay, I'm going to show people our emojis.
Holy emoji.
Holy emoji for Mili. What was the holiest moment in the movie?
when he gives thanks to God before the competition. It's like, okay, I got you. You got me. You know, it's like he didn't say nothing, but it's like, okay, this time you're with me and I'm with you.
Yeah. I'll give it a divine emoji, Mili. I feel like it was really good, really divine in the topics that it was talking about, relationships and the strength of the man. Just saying, I'm gonna do what it takes. You know, the sacrifice and giving us an example to all of us, maybe parents and men. You know, aging men at any age. You know, to say, hey, there's always a way to sacrifice for your family, and part of it, you know, it's in your hands. And also, you know, the whole thing with forgiving his friend and all of that, I think it was really cool. So what do you think about this movie? Let us know in the comments. What would you give it out of the 5 emojis even? You know, we have from blasphemous to divine. There we go.